Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. I'm going to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another throwback review for one of my favorite series of all time. This one is for Batman, the animated series. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so why have I decided to just all of a sudden do a throwback review for Batman the Animated Series? Well, the new Batman Beware the Batman has been released, and it's not too bad. It's okay. If you guys haven't seen my review of that, please feel free to go on and check out the review for the first episode at least. And I have been watching it, watched the second episode, and I think it's okay. But for me, I mean, it just made me want to watch the animated series just that much more, because it's cool, but it's like I just want to go watch the animated series. All there is to it. This show is one of those cartoons from any '90s kid that did like cartoons, did like superheroes, this kind of stuff. I mean, this is one that you could not pass up. Saturday mornings. This was it's one of the best animated series ever. It's one of the best cartoons ever. It's one of the most interesting in terms of the art style, in terms of the direction, the environment, the shading. I mean, it's really, really dark for a cartoon series. Even from the intro is not a bad place to start. You have Batman. He's stopping the robbery at a bank, and then afterwards you have him, and he's standing on top of the rooftop, and you got the lightning crash down. You got the music in the background. Oh man, what an epic intro. Not a bad place to start with a review. Probably the most epic intro, I would have to say, of any of the different animated series shows. So you had Batman the animated series, you had Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men the animated series, Superman, basically the animated series. So you had all of these different ones, but out of all of them, X-Men had a pretty awesome intro too. But the Batman one for Batman the Animated Series, it just really captured the essence of the character of Batman, and I absolutely loved it. Now, in terms of this show and how you want to look at it, you can break it down into different categories if you want to, because as the show went on, they rebranded it, they changed some things. We had the first 65 episodes, which was just Batman the Animated Series, and then after that, it changed in season 2 to rebranding of the adventures of Batman and Robin. They started to have more of a heavy focus on some of the more supporting cast that was there with Batman protagonists, like your Dick Grayson Robin. And then from there on, we went even further with the new Batman Adventures, which you can think of as kind of like your season 3 and forward, which was another 24 episodes. And that was totally like a revamping of the show, to the point where you can consider it to be its own series as well. So a lot of people, when they talk about Batman the Animated Series, and according to the wiki, it's just supposed to include season 1, the first 65 episodes, and then the Adventures of Batman and Robin, the 20 from there. So 85 episodes total. Whether or not you want to include the new Batman Adventures and its 24 episodes is your choice. You can see it as a different show, or you can see it as the same show, but just a revamping, because basically WB wanted to produce more Batman. There was a demand for it, so they decided to revamp the graphics, revamp the art style, change the villain designs, change the character designs. You had Batman's costume that started to look different. He had the straight up black and gray with the newer version of the bat symbol with just the bat logo instead of the yellow oval that the one had before it, with the more blue shading in it. And of course you have Nightwing, which is introduced in that, and Batgirl has a lot more of a heavy focus in that as well. As well as you have Tim Drake, I believe it's Tim Drake as Robin, pretty sure, introduced in the new Batman Adventures as well. So for me, I'm going to basically include all of it in the review and can take it all in consideration, because to me it was like all one really long show. Whether or not you want to consider it separate is your deal, but for me, I consider it all to be basically the same thing, even though they revamped it. So in terms of the style choices and the design and the art of the series, it was really different from everything we'd seen before that. You know, you have even the logo of Batman where he goes into shadow and it's really dark all around. You just see the eyes, the stylized eyes with, like, you know, the background behind them, the lights and the way they would shine down, they would shine around. You know, the buildings are all big and blocky and square. The rooftops are really cool. You have characters, you know, like Catwoman running and jumping on the rooftops and using her athleticism, and Batman in there, and he's doing his own thing too. And, you know, all these different great characters. You had, I mean, almost like when I think of Batman's rogues gallery, I basically think about the characters from this series. Of course, in the comic books, there's many more villains than just that. But when I think of his core rogues gallery, this series is really what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about the Joker, Man-Bat, Bane, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, who, by the way, was developed for this series. She did not exist in the comic books prior, which is another feather in the cap of this show, that they were able to give Joker a Harley Quinn, which was very cool to see, because she's a great character as well too. You know, to add on to the Joker's thugs and give more life to the side of the Joker, more dialogue, and make it easier and more relatable for the kids. But also, she's been adapted later on in the video games and in the books and everything, and been accepted as a legit character in the Batman universe outside of just the animated series, which shows how successful she was as a character for them to put in. Paul Dini, you had a lot of really talented people working on it like him, and he wrote some amazing stuff in this one. One of the most popular episodes from the entire series, New Batman Adventures, was the Mad Love episode. If you guys remember that one. That episode is brilliant. And that was written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm as well. And, you know, just so many brilliant episodes in what I think of as like a true interpretation of Batman. You know, you have the new stuff with Beware the Batman. You had The Brave and the Bold, which was a lot of fun too, Batman the Brave and the Bold. We've had, The Batman. We've had, your campy, older Adam West Batman from the TV series. The Super Friends Batman. We've had all these different versions of him, as well as in the comic books too. He's been done lighthearted. He's been done campy. He's been done darker. And to me, when I think of like a normal Batman, like this is how Batman should be, just your regular, normal comic book Batman, this show captures the essence of that Batman the way I think of him better than any of the others. Yes, The Brave and the Bold's really fun and cool and all that stuff, and campy and great. The 60s was great too with Adam West and all that. They were great as well, but when I think of Batman, it's Kevin Conroy's voice. When I read Batman comic books, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice in my head. And, this show to me really is like the definitive cartoon series for Batman. There need not be another. People can just go watch this. Even to this day, it holds up very well because of the art style being so creative. It has created a world on its own that exists outside of time. It's not trying to be, 80s, or it's not trying to be necessarily 90s. It's its own universe, really dark world of Gotham City, and amazing. So the graphics by themselves, the art, I would have to say is like a perfect 10 out of 10. It's avant-garde. It's like, for cartoons, it is completely different, than anything you would have seen before. Novelle, new, avant-garde, like I said. The sound, even the intro, the music, the voice acting, Kevin Conroy. You had Mark Hamill as the Joker, who has the greatest Joker laugh, bar none. I can't believe some people want to compare his Joker laugh to others and try to say that any of the other Jokers can hold a candle. Jack Nicholson can't hold a candle to him. Heath Ledger, his Joker laugh was really good as well too. But to me, Mark Hamill has got that down. There is nobody, and every time he does it, it's like it fits the mood, it fits the scene. It's not always the same. They could have cheaped out like a lot of anime and other shows do, where they just record it once and play the same clip over and over and over again, like a video game, the same thing over and over and over again. But they didn't, I mean, certain times it'll sound similar, but every laugh is like unique and to the particular situation that is going on at the time. So he can have like a dark, ominous, slow laugh. He can have a faster laugh. He can have like a gleeful, crazy laugh, and he mixes them all together well, and he switches based on the episode you're watching, based on the circumstances, from one to another, back and forth all the time. So his Joker is awesome. Probably the definitive Joker for me. Again, when I read Batman comic books, I hear Mark Hamill's laugh. I hear his voice in my head when I read him too, because I love this series so much, and of course I grew up with it. Maybe people that are older, they may have a different take on that type of thing of who they think is the definitive. But for me, this is the definitive version of Batman based on the comics to be animated. The definitive version of the Joker to be animated from the comic books as well. Even though, of course, the Joker can't kill in the cartoon series because it's a kid's cartoon show, but the laughing faces and the different gas and different things that he does, I think pretty much is almost as good. Pretty much. I mean, you wouldn't want kids seeing the Joker, the Killing Joke, walking up and just clocking somebody, shooting them down and laughing while he's doing it. So you got to draw it back a little bit. Now, the animated movies, some of them go a little further, like the Return of the Joker, where you see the end of that, which I love as well too. And definitely lots to it. All the other rogues are all awesome. The voice for Harley Quinn is great too. A lot of fun. Mr. Freeze, his voice acting's awesome. Catwoman's great. Two-Face is excellent. I mean, just one after another. They're all amazing, man. The Clock King, I like him very much as a villain. His episodes were really good. Killer Croc's a lot of fun too. I'm just kind of looking through some different ones. Robin, his voice is great too, as well as your sidekick, turning into Nightwing later. And the voice acting, just all in all, I think is basically perfect. It captures the essence of each character essentially perfect. So again, for me, that would be a 10 out of 10. The different stories that we go throughout the series and all the different episodes, I mean, we really get a well-rounded picture of Batman and all the different rogues in the Batman universe, the main ones. Of course, in Beware the Batman, we're getting to see some others animated that we haven't seen before, which is cool, some of the newer ones. And there's always new Batman villains that writers for the books are creating, and there's lots of older ones. I mean, the amount of issues of Batman comics, you could never have a show that would have literally every single villain or every single rogue, Hugo Strange and all the rest of them. They're not going to get around to making every single one of them in the series probably. So that being said, the ones they chose I thought were great, a lot of fun, and definitely I think helped out with the movies and pumping up Batman and getting him out there for a new generation as they were growing up, and the popularity of the character a lot, that's for sure. So if I had to make a list of like my top 5 favorite cartoon series of all time, this one absolutely has to be up there. It would have to be in the top 3. I'd have to think more carefully about where I would place it. If it's not number 1, it's got to be number 2 or number 3. It's like right up there, man. And in my opinion, is the greatest piece of media that you can watch in terms of Batman, in terms of animation. Compared to all the others, it really does wipe the floor with the rest of them. It's darker, it's grittier, it's more, I guess I could say, realistic. It's got a lot of psychology mixed in. It's got all your best elements of your comic books, basically, without the killing that they can do in a cartoon in the animated series. So for me, this series is a perfect 10 out of 10. It's amazing. It's something that every Batman fan should at one point or another watch. Most of the episodes, I'd say. I mean, there's a few here and there that might not be that great, depending. But I'll tell you, man, it's definitely a lot of fun, and some really special ones here and there. I could probably go through and just make a list of like my favorite Batman episodes for a top 10 favorite for the series, because there's so many good ones. Absolutely so many good ones. Mad Love might top that, because that one's just so brilliant. I liked a lot of the Mr. Freeze episodes too, and the Clock King. Oh man, there's so many. Such a great series, so amazing, and just wanted to throw up a pretty quick review for it, give my thoughts on it. Awesome. Even now, like nowadays, if you go back and you watch a lot of the episodes again, it's just so fun. It's such a fun show. It's timeless too. You can watch it now. It's not boring. It's not, childish or anything of the sort. There's all kinds of things that you'll catch now, mature themes that you wouldn't have got when you were younger. Jokes and things like that. For example, for Mad Love, Harley saying, "Don't you want to rev up your Harley?" as she's vroom vroom as she's on top of the bike. So, but there's so many. So it's definitely a great series, and something that every Batman fan, like I said, should definitely check out at least once in their lifetime. So those are my thoughts on it. Thinking about doing some more throwback reviews for older cartoons. I have to do eventually X-Men the Animated Series, because that's another one of my favorites of all time, and some of the others. And sometimes I feel like when there's not too much on TV, or a series like Beware the Batman comes out and just makes me miss the old one even more, that I'll go back and review some of the older stuff. I got to review Justice League too, because that cartoon series was amazing as well. Awesome stuff, really high quality. Anyway, I'll call it here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for this video. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.